People should fight hatred with love and build bridges between communities. This was the message of Mohammed Al-Issa, the Secretary General of the Muslim World League, in the Europe Conversation. Mohammed Al-Issa, you're the Secretary General of the Muslim World League. You just met with members of the French government. Did you discuss the situation of the Muslim communities here in France and generally in Europe?
Muslim societies around the world are peaceful and coexisting societies based on appropriate understanding of the Islamic religion, with around 2 billion people around the world.
تنطلق من فهمها الصحيح لدينها الإسلامي حول العالم.
This large community is self-aware, enjoys love for others and perfect coexistence with them.
يتمتع بالوعي. يتمتع بمحبة.
There are exceptions. They represent only themselves and are few. They espouse extremist ideologies and misconceptions about Islam, or they have an agenda outside of Islam. And they use Islam in order to achieve their agenda.
أو لديها أجندة خارج نطاق الإسلام ووظفت الإسلام من أجل تحقيق أجندتها.
What would be your advice to Muslims living in Europe? How should they engage in a society that is mostly secular?
My advice to them is to engage in Islamic work, which represents their religious identity, and also to engage in national work, which represents their national identity, assuring them that there is no conflict between their religious identity, which makes them Muslims, and their national identity, because all civilized constitutions around the world do not affect the essence of the identity of any religion.
لأن عموم الدساتير المتحضرة حول العالم لا تمس جوهر الهوية الدينية لأي دين.
Let me rephrase this question a little bit. Sometimes European laws forbid religious rituals or habits related to the Islam. I'm talking about a ban of headscarf for women in different countries. Should Muslims here in Europe follow these rules?
لا أعتقد.
I don't think there's any benefit at all in preventing any individual from exercising their religious rights. However, if a specific religious particularity is prohibited, there'll be a contradiction, because other religions are allowed to manifest their particularities of other religions that are allowed. There must also be tolerance in legislation. Yes, and this doesn't affect national identities at all.
You're an advocate for tolerance and dialogue. Do you think there is enough dialogue between Muslims and non-Muslims in Europe?
Dialogue must be effective, transparent, and have goals. We're now facing a qualitative shift in dialogue. The Muslim World League is a very important actor in this field. We have allies from all religions that participate in these dialogues in order for them to be effective and achieve common goals. Many issues were discussed in a transparent and clear manner, and many problems were answered that were excluded in the past due to a mistaken belief that they might cause a clash or an intellectual conflict, but this isn't true.
اعتقاد خاطئ بأنها ربما سببت صداما أو صراعا فكريا ولكن هذا غير صحيح.
At the United Nations you recently spoke out against Islamophobia. What can be done to, fight this development?
طبعا علينا أن
Of course, we need to be more serious and effective in fighting hatred in general and Islamophobia in particular.
ومن ذلك الإسلاموفوبيا. لا بد في هذا من عدة أمور.
This requires several things. The first thing is to promote awareness in societies, starting with the family and at school, where the curriculum and the teacher must formulate sound thinking in order to give a message to students. What is hate? Why hate? What is love? Why love? All school curriculums around the world focus on scientific subjects at the expense of educational subjects, and the curriculum is not the only key aspect to education, but also the teacher, who is a major influential actor. Islamophobia is a very bad behaviour. Hate in general is a very bad behaviour. What comes from extremism, whether it's violence or verbal abuse or incitement or terrorism, actually only speaks for itself. And this isn't just found in the Islamic religion. And it's not done by those adhering to the Islamic religion only, but other religions as well.
In Europe recently, we have very huge political developments in some countries. Anti-Islam parties are developing. The tensions between communities are rising. Do you feel confident that the coexistence and the cooperation between Muslims and non-Muslims in Europe will be peaceful?
Whoever adopts the approach of hatred and racism on their electoral platforms ultimately will never achieve their full goals. And by looking at the history of those who did so before, you'll find that they ended up with a negative and even dark record. Not only for those we call racists, whether Muslims or non-Muslims. We meet with everyone. We speak with everyone. You talk about certain groups that we meet, and I'm very happy that many of them understood. And some of them have realized that this ideology is wrong and a dead end. The issue is that we have to clarify the truth. The issue is that we must accommodate our religious, ethnic and cultural diversity. We shouldn't be afraid of others because of their religion or their ethnicity. Never, ever.
You talk a lot about how to fight hatred with love. This is beautiful, but what do you feel when you see the images coming from Gaza, and what does the Muslim world feel?
Of course, what is happening in Gaza is a tragedy and is akin to genocide. What is happening in Gaza violates international and humanitarian law. However diverse, the world conferred and reached an agreement about this. Our world today has not witnessed such a tragedy. We're optimistic. This tragedy will result in accountability. This tragedy will unite us further. We're optimistic that Gaza will regain its strength, but in the context of a Palestinian state. It is the right of the Palestinian people to live in an independent state, with East Jerusalem as its capital. This is the right of the Palestinians.
Anti-Semitism is also rising in Europe, but also globally. What can be done to fight this phenomenon?
We're against any form of hatred, no matter what manifestation it takes. And we're against antagonizing people of faith for their religious choice. We work with our partners around the world to fight these ploys. Of course, we visited Auschwitz to tell everyone that Islam rejects, condemns and strongly deplores the Holocaust. We told everyone that Islam rejects, condemns and strongly criminalizes the genocide and destruction of the Jewish community because they were Jewish by religion or ethnicity. We said that this visit also is not of political significance, but is humanitarian, moral and values-based.
وقلنا بأن هذه الزيارة أيضا لا تحمل أي دلالة سياسية، إنما هي إنسانية أخلاقية قيمية. قلنا أيضا
We also said that what is happening in Gaza is borne by the current Israeli occupation government and not by other Jews.
الحالية.
We make this distinction.
فنحن نفرق في هذا.
Should women have the same rights as men across the Middle East when it comes to schooling and other rights?
من حق المرأة كالرجل.
Women, like men, have the right to receive education throughout their schooling without exception,
حتى نهاية طموحها في التعليم.
whether in terms of schooling or in academic specializations. The Mecca document, which was signed by 1,200 muftis, academics, and 4,500 Islamic thinkers, has an article dedicated to empowering women and talking about all their rights, including equality, even in salaries. Because unfortunately in many countries women still do not receive equal pay.
المساواة حتى في المرتبات، والتي مع الأسف هناك دول كبرى لا تحظى فيها المرأة بالمساواة في المرتبات.
Mohammed Al-Issa, Secretary General, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you. أنا سعيد جدا بهذا اللقاء. I'm very happy with this meeting. Thanks so much.
شكرا.